For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Yeah. It's always an inner thing, y'all. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. We make a lot of flesh and blood decisions in our life. I was recently telling everybody we're on. It's an inside job. We're on our way. We have to dig deeper on the inside. We got to go into the recesses of the depths and the deep of oneself. Yeah. Because it says that we're born and shaped in iniquities. We're born and formed in the ways of this world. Mama and daddy pass on some lies to us, brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles. This world, this system, our environment, the schools, they all pass certain lies to us. So on the journey of life, we'll find ourselves making those carnal, fleshly decisions, which eventually lead us to a place when I begin to chase after God in the early 2000s and finally surrendering. One thing that I noticed was that everybody that was there was hurt. Everybody was hurt. Everybody was damaged. Everybody had done been through the woes and wiles of this world. Everybody was tormented and gnashing of teeth. And a large part of it was because of what we've been trained and conditioned to do and be about, and to go and to operate in the ways of this world. In the ways of this world. And on the flip side of that, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the principles of life, universal law, universal principles, which are set in stone, been whooping our ass the whole time. So we finally get to a place where we surrender our ego, we surrender our will, and we go to the place where we feel like what God is, which is the church. And so what I found out was a lot of people there were hurt. A lot of people there were damaged. And a lot of it just had to do with our choices, our own choices and decisions in life. Our choices and decisions in our mates, choices and decisions in our husband, wives, who we link up with, our friendships, all our ships. Them ships can be, woo! Them ships is what got a lot of folks underwater, but sent a lot of people to that place. And then some of us were just truly seeking after God and wanting to know that they had to ask, there were more to this existence, more to this life than what I've been doing and what I've been going about up to this point. I've done all these things in my own will, all these things in my own carnality, all these things that the world, mom and dad and everybody has told me to do, but I get to a certain point in life and I'm not satisfied. My spirit man is thirsty and hungering for the things of God, for something much bigger, something much higher, something much deeper within. And so we go to the church, and that's where life and the teachings and where it all begins. Good, bad, and indifferent. So I was saying that it's an inside job. And so people are like, well, it's inside. What do you mean by that? We have to dig deeper into the wells and the bowels of oneself. Yeah, I know Tyrone lied to you to get to where he wanted, to get what he needed, to take from you. I know that Sheila did all that conniving, manipulating to get what she wanted, and did all this, and she bamboozled you. He bamboozled you. The organization, that job that he was a part of, they used your skills, used your expertise, your ingenuity up, and then they just promoted Bob. They promoted Bob, and Bob didn't even put in half the work. And some of those things can be harmful. Those things hurt when you see yourself getting done, especially when you come with a pure heart. And if we all be honest and we all be truthful, we all know we done fumble some folks. We all know that we done did some people wrong. And that's the part in this journey when you begin to dig a little deeper. Because it says that the truth shall make you free. And so you gotta be honest and truthful with oneself. Yeah, because we go through this life and we try to satisfy our fleshly desires, but on the whole time, spirit is what hurts it, the thing on the inside of him and her, outside of the beautiful exterior that some of us possess, beyond the mammon, the money, the possessions and materialism, things and the statuses, the titles that some of us have that lure some of us in. We find out it wasn't that bit us. That was what attracted us, and what ended up biting us was that which on the inside of that individual. Some of us look like Aphrodite. Some of us are the most beautifulness of things on the outside, but on the inside of some of us is a Freddy Krueger lurking. It's an ogre behind those eyes. There's a monster, a wolf, a shark behind those eyes. Yeah, you gotta be honest with yourself on why you made certain decisions, why you was a part of certain groups, why you entertained certain entities and certain persons in this existence. And that's why you gotta be truthful, because the truth will make you free. Because as long as you keep living their lives, living your own life, I tell people all the time, if you want to be my friend, if you're going to be in my circle, just know that I'm not going to let you lie to me, and I'm not going to let you lie to yourself. It just ain't gonna happen. We ain't finna do that. We ain't about that. I'm gonna be the friend that's gonna tell you, out of the 8 friends you got, we sitting here talking and you got that big old booger in your nose and ain't nobody telling you got a booger in your, I'm the friend that's gonna tell you that you got a booger hanging out your nose. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. That's what a real friends tell you the truth. And I've learned along the way that people despise the truth. I've lost quite a few friends in recent years just from telling them the truth, the God honest truth about certain circumstances. I'm thinking we friends and I can speak freely, and I just want to see my friend do better. And when you tell them the truth, all of a sudden you get blocked. All of a sudden you don't hear from them no more, and it's a wrap. But your mama, your daddy, your brother, the sisters, all them niggas, your boyfriends, husbands, wives, they all been lying to you the whole time. But just been lying to you because as long as and they letting you lie to yourself. And they be letting you lie to yourself as well. So the truth shall make you free. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places, in heavenly places. Because we think of heaven all the time as this beautiful place, but there's some spiritual wickedness in these heavenly places as well. There's another aspect to who you are. You're more than just this tangible face and body and flesh. There's a spirit man behind your eye, which is when you think about the relationships that we've been a part of in our life, we always cool with what we see on the outside. It's usually what draws us to one another. But whenever we part ways, whenever we break up, whenever we get mad at each other, and it turns from love to hate, from curiosity to hate, from infatuation to hate, it's always because of what's on the inside. Who that person really is that comes out and bites us and hurts us and disappoints us and sends us in another trajectory, another direction other than the one that we thought we were supposed to be in that moment. Yeah. For we wrestle not against flesh. It's an inside job, yo. You gotta go within oneself and tap into who you are. I had to go inside myself and find out who Harlan really was. Not my job title, not my wants, not all these, but who I was in the spirit. In the spirit. Woo, now we're finna get into a whole nother part of this conversation. And this is where the conversation goes left. And there's a lot of folk ain't going like this. On my journey, I said I stepped and I went to the church, because that's in my growing up and in my being shaped and formed in this world. That's what they teach us to do when we're looking for God, is to go to the church, because that's what God is. But what I learned along the way is that if I was a devil, if I was trying to throw man off, if I was trying to ruin, kill, destroy man, I would start my own church, because I know that the wounded of the world, those that need healing of the world, those that have been hurt, damaged, those that have been violated, they go to the church looking for God. But if I'm the devil, I ain't giving them God. I'm going to give them me. I'm going to stomp on them some more. I'm going to dig a little bit deeper. I'm going to see if I can put some salt on those wounds. I'm going to see if I can throw some gasoline on the fire. If I was the devil, that's when you begin to talk about the false teacher, the false prophet, the false preachers in the land. Those that were not called by God, they were called by the devil. And it's a lot of them that don't set up their own ministries, set up their own churches, set up their own organizations in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, knowing the whole time that this is in the name of Lucifer. Yeah. That's why the word says you got to try the Spirit by the Spirit. And it also, what God gave me on my journey through this labyrinth, when he gave me this journey through finding out what is, what ain't, and what ain't, he told me, he said, Harlan, you can tell who they are by the fruit. By the fruit. Yeah, the word is right there. By the fruit, you can tell who they are. But I'm going to go a little bit deeper. When I went on my weight loss journey, testimony, I was married, and the woman I was married to turned me into a fat boy. I was turned into a fat boy. When I met her, I was about 230, in the gym, balling, doing my thing. I got married, got comfortable, the good loving, the good cooking, good eating. Especially don't been a bachelor for 30 years. She turned me into a fat boy, and I didn't realize I was turning all the way into a fat boy. Ran into an old teammate of mine, and he told me, he said, son, what you weigh, about 300? And me knowing I had done gained a whole lot of weight, I was like, no, I ain't 300. And at that time when he said that, by the time I finally got my butt on that scale, I was 297. When he said, son, what you is, about 300, I knew then that I was beyond 300 when he said what he had said. My boy Tonio, shout out Tonio, coaching them boys in the football field, man, teaching them how to be young men. Shout out to Antonio. You know who you is. I ain't gonna put your last name out here, but hey, man, keep doing your thing, man. Keep pouring into the future. But nevertheless, my wife at the time had turned me into, I had turned into a fat boy. Neck was all over the place. Gut was all over the place. It was ridiculous. And I'm just coming and going. All I'm doing is chasing after God. I'm focused on trying to be who they said I was in the spirit. And so I'm up here getting swole up, jaws swole up. I got some old videos. I saved two videos, but one particular on YouTube of me being a fat boy singing. I kept it on purpose. I saved it on purpose. Just a friendly reminder of not only just where I was, but also to those that are viewing of where God can take you from to this place right here, the journey, when you apply oneself to self-improvement and self-empowerment and finding out who self is. Yeah. So nevertheless, I took on an approach because I began to study different foods, different herbs. I began to find out what worked for me. I started listening to my body and finding out what worked for me, what did not work for me. And on that journey, I began to find out about Dr. Sebi. And Dr. Sebi opened my eyes not only to the diet, but he opened my eyes up to spirit. Because I already was tapped in. And I've been tapped in even before I even stepped in the church. I been knew I had some spiritual gifts. I've always had a gift of discernment. Always had a higher, heightened sense of intuition. I just didn't understand it, but it was always there. Even when I stepped foot into the church, I didn't know no scriptures, but I knew people. been the expert since a child on the types of people in the world, how they move, how their spirits move, what they say, how they say it, their body language, their movements. When they're honest, so what it sounds like when someone's lying to me, when it sounds like when someone's trying to tickle my ear, what it sounds like when someone's trying to get over on me, what it sounds like when someone really loves me, what it sounds like from a true friend. I learned that game and I learned those skills a long time ago before I finally tapped in and started to get an understanding of my true spiritual giftings. And so when I began to read about Dr. Sebi and learn about him, it was the spirit. It was the one thing. It was one thing. The thing is simple. It's an inside job, y'all. It's an inside job. Yeah, the journey to unconditional love is an inside job. It ain't about what he did to you, baby, because I notice a lot of women like to, when they get on a self-love journey, it's always predicated on what that dirty booger, that boy, that man, that scoundrel, that devil did to you. And now you announce it to the world because you want him to hear about yourself. You want him to hear it too. But when you get beyond the self-love journey and you begin to get on the unconditional love for oneself, he not even a thought in your mind. She not even a thought. And they're not even a thought. It's all about you, yourself, and I, and the Most High God. That's all it's about, is falling in love with who you, being honest with yourself, being honest about your own decisions, being honest about who you let into your life, being honest about the ones you fumble, the ones you let get out your life that should have been in your life. Yeah, the places that your feet have tread, how you got there, why you got there, what you did when you was there. Some of it is ugly, nasty, dirty, filthy. Oh, yeah, that search going inside of one, the recesses of oneself is an ugly journey. Especially if you're a human in this world, shaped and formed in iniquity, going along with the assimilated flow of society and the way of life, depending on what part of the world you at. It's different here and there, but it's all the same thing. Yeah. It's an ugly place to look at, because truth be told, that he said in the scripture, he said, none is good but the Father. Whew, that messed me up on my journey, because I'm thinking that I was good. I'm thinking that he was him, her. But then when I started understanding, he said, none is good but the Father. I began to think about some of my own thoughts, some of the things that I've done along the way that was not necessarily good. I wasn't the hell of a that I thought I was. I wasn't who I thought it was. It was almost an ego killer for me. It took the air out of me, because I had to be honest with myself. And it was when that shift was when I was able to begin to see things in totality. Was when I came to the grips and came to the understanding and accept it. Because we always see what it is. We see it in him. We see it in her. We see it in it. Whatever it may be, we see what we don't like. We see the red flags. We see them, but we don't, even in our children, in our loved ones, in our family members, we see the red flags, but we don't accept it. It's the acceptance is where the changing happens. It's when we step out of denial and accept what we see and accept what we hear, is when the beginning of life truly happens. That's when the rose-colored glasses come off. And that's when you begin to see this thing for what it really, really is. But nevertheless, it was Dr. Sebi. He said about the diet, the thing he said was, what was the diet of that little black woman, the little African woman, who our ancestors, where we come from in this country, what was their diet? And when you think about the aboriginals, when you think about the natives, and you think about the people who are native to their lands before this modern world came, before machines, before the big industrial age has come, before we started building all these complex things and technologies and all that, everybody lived off the land. Everybody gave what the earth rendered to them. Yeah. That's what that little African woman in the jungle, our ancestor, she gave what the earth rendered to them, and they lived long lives back in those days. If they had herbs, they had spices, they had different foods that were for healing, that were for medicine, they were for so many different ailments, they were for so many different things, and that was what Dr. Sebi had done tapped into. Because this Western society who creates man-made medicines, anything that man touches is going to have some blemishes. It's going to be tainted. And depends on what type of man or who this man is, it's probably going to be more harmful to you than any good. And that was what Dr. Sebi was trying to say. He said he had to tap into what that black woman in the jungle, what her diet was. And for me, I translated it also as okay, what was that black, before they brought this Bible, which has been touched by 500, 600, 700 people, 75 books taken out of it, 16 the Apocrypha taken out of it. You got the Protestants, they doing it this way. You got the Catholics doing this way. You got the Church of Latter-day Saints. They got their own versions of it. They got their own interpretations of religion. All these different religions. Before religion came, before religion took over, before religion converted us, what was our spirituality? Who was we worshiping? Who was we serving? Who was we looking up to the skies? And it was not that little white Jesus that was in the back of these black churches up until not too long ago. Yeah. They was one with the land. They was one with the universe. They was one with the spirit. They was one with the trees, one with the animals, one with the stars, one with the moon, one with the oceans, one with the rivers, one with the creeks, one with one another, one with the Most High, the Creator of all. God told me, he said, Harden, religion is only a carnal interpretation of power and spirit. Meaning that's a man who has no type of understanding of what the operating of power and spirit, but they see it. They see the spirit. They see the power that comes from these native people. They see what they operate and what is happening with their connection to source, the connection to the land, the connection to the oceans and the waters. They see it. So now, because man is man, especially a particular conquering type of man that took that and interpreted it and perceived it and turned it into religion and made it to be their interpretation of what spirit is. But now you add a capitalistic mind, conquering, bloodthirsty spirit of control and mind games and warfare, and you add it to it, and that's what's been presented to the world. Yeah. What was that little black African lady's? She didn't have no religion. What was her connection to source? Who did she worship? Who did they look up to? Boy, I'm going hard up in here, man. But who did she look up to? Who was her source? Who did she worship? When you listen to the Native Americans and how they reverenced the animals, they reverenced the waters, they reverenced the food, they reverenced everything that the earth gave back to them. When I ask you a question today, how was it % of the earth is water? About 70%. The rest of it, about 30% of it is land. How much % of your body is water? 70%. And the rest of it is land, because we're made out of the dirt, out of the clay. 30% is land. We are as the earth. One. Yeah. Why do you think that certain vegetables and certain crops and certain things that come out of the ground have the most benefits when they come into our body? Because what's in that ground is also one. You get the inside job. You got to tap into yourself, into the Most High God. Always speaking, always watching, always whispering. But when you begin to take on that religion and and Western society and eat the diets and pollute our bodies with the things that we put in it, you begin to lose your connection. Your antennas begin to get dull. Your radars begin to get dull. That pipeline down to God begins to be pushed down, begin to get dull, and you can't hear from God, and then you're conditioned mentally and psychologically to be about a certain type of way that society has. Society has programmed, especially us descendants of slaves. We've had to go along with, to get along, and just to be alone, just to survive. That is the thing that they marvel and they are astonished by us, is our connection to spirit. It's an inside job. Find you when you go deeper within self and you begin to step outside of society's ways and norms and religion. And you begin to tap into the spirit. Begin to seek after God. Begin to reverence and worship and love. Because he said that God is love. That's what's on the inside of you. That's the thing that's being suppressed. That's the thing that's being killed and destroyed, is your love. Because if you ever tap into your love, it'll change the world. It'll change the world. It's an inside job. Unconditional love. That we were wondering why in today's post, the white boy got with his foot not on our neck like it used to be, where we had to be together. Now we don't have to be together, but because his foot ain't on our neck and we have access to the amenities, the jobs and the titles. So now we're in our community, we've separated, we're dividing ourselves. Before we ever got to that point, what was it? I don't lost my train of thought. Woo, I lost my train of thought. But nevertheless, why do you think that we can't seem to get it? Unconditional love. Woo, there we go. Unconditional love. If I don't have unconditional love for myself, if I don't love me to the moon and back, if I don't respect myself, men, slaying all that dick all over the city, all over the town, all over the country, all over the world, leaving babies all over the place. That is not self-love, baby. That's not unconditional love. That's a disrespect to one's temple. That's a disrespect to oneself. And I've been guilty of it myself. I had to get to this place to learn. That's why I'm releasing this information, this download, is that because we can't seem to get it together with the man and the woman, because nobody really knows anything about love. Real unconditional. I can't love you if I don't love myself. I look good, I sound good, I seem as if I'm doing good, but if a man is out here slanging all over, allowing his sperm to drop to the ground in all kind of places, baby, he don't love himself. He don't even know who he is. The same thing with you. We already know it's established that because of the double standard that women aren't supposed to live that way. We know that, but it's the other side too as men. We're not supposed to be. It's the reason why he said don't fornicate. Because when you fornicate, it opens up doors and portals and dark places and cycles and that we end up going down in life that we should have never went down, taking us further and further away from the source, from God, from the Most High, and our true purpose and our oneness. When you become one with God, there's a lot of things that just ain't going to be able to bother you. There's not going to be able to penetrate your hemisphere. Not going to be able to penetrate. That's why the enemy uses those close to you. Because we know those outside of our house don't really, when you get to a certain point, we don't give a damn about what they got going on. But we love our children, we love our woman, we love our brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers. We love them, so we're going to stop and listen. But unconditional love is an inside, honest job. I know society teaches us to be studs. A lot of us grew up watching porn growing up. That was my issue with those Hollywood hills when they burnt. I wasn't cared about judgment. One thing about judgment is judgment don't ever go nowhere. Judgment is all around us. We create our own judgment when we make certain decisions from our heart. Judgment is there. Judgment been in them hills. That had nothing to do with it. But I only thought was all the porn that I grew up watching, a lot of them videos was filmed right there in them Hollywood hills. And that was my first thought. And I know that a lot of those women were victims of sexual trauma from childhood that were trying to find their way, and they end up on film and porn doing videos with these men in these hills for the dollar bill. For the love of money. Not money, but the love of money is the root. That was my first interpretation. My first thoughts was like, damn, the Hollywood hills is on fire. The next one was, damn, a lot of women, and men too, but particularly a lot of women in these porns were filmed in those Hollywood hills right there. That was my first thoughts. But nevertheless, unconditional love starts with honesty and truth with oneself. That man in the mirror. What Mike Jack say? The man in the mirror. Gonna make a change for once in my life. Gonna feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right. Cause you see what I'm saying? The man in the mirror, y'all. It's an inside job. It starts with us. The hell with them. The hell with her. The hell with him. The hell with them. Me in the mirror. Being honest with every single decision I've ever made in my life. Coming to grip face to face. Facing them giants. Facing them demons. Slaying them. And becoming the new creature with a renewed mind of who you are. Yeah. It's an inside job. And I'm going to leave this right there. I'm going to come back and we're going to touch back on that religion. I ain't done with that yet. One thing about Yeshua, I'm going to say this and I'm going to get the hell on. One thing about Yeshua, when he walked the earth, I never, ever read anywhere in them scriptures where he called himself and the disciples and all those that walked with him and believed in him a Christian and a religion called Christianity. And I'm going to leave this right here. We're going to pick up on that another day. God bless y'all. This your boy Harlan Subtle, a.k.a. Man of Thunder. Until the next time, stay in the high place.